You think she's pulling away. You think you're losing her. That assumption is exactly why most men misread the most dangerous moment of attraction. Welcome back to our channel, Female Code Unlocked. What you're about to hear won't comfort you. It will recalibrate how you read female behavior forever, because avoidance is rarely what it looks like. When a woman is truly uninterested, she disappears cleanly. No friction, no contradiction, no emotional residue, silence without tension. What confuses you is not disinterest, it's internal conflict. Here's the psychological frame you need to lock in before we go any further. Women do not withdraw when they feel nothing. They withdraw when they feel too much and can't control the consequences. Attraction doesn't scare men, it destabilizes women. When a woman feels herself falling, her subconscious goes into containment mode. She doesn't run from you. She runs from the version of herself she becomes around you. That distinction changes everything. The first thing you must understand is that female desire is not linear. It's recursive. It loops. It contradicts itself. One part of her moves toward pleasure. Another part scans for risk. When those two collide, behavior becomes inconsistent. That inconsistency is the tell. She replies slower, not colder, slower. Timing changes before tone does. That's not avoidance. That's regulation. She's controlling exposure. When she answers quickly, emotion leaks. When she delays, she regains control. Her subconscious is trying to reduce emotional velocity without killing momentum. Watch the pattern. She still responds. She still engages. But she shortens exchanges right when they start to deepen. This is not boredom. This is fear of escalation. Escalation leads to attachment. Attachment leads to vulnerability. Vulnerability threatens autonomy. Another sign most men miss. She becomes hyper-aware of how she's perceived. She asks indirect questions, not about you, about situations, about people, about hypotheticals. She's probing safety without revealing intent. A woman who doesn't care doesn't calibrate. A woman who's scared of falling does. Then there's the withdrawal after connection. One good conversation followed by distance. One intense moment followed by silence. Men read this as games. It's not. It's rebound control. Her nervous system spikes during connection. Afterward, it demands equilibrium. Distance is the break. This is where weak perception ruins strong opportunity. If you chase at this moment, you confirm her fear, loss of control. If you disappear entirely, you validate her avoidance instinct. The correct interpretation comes before the correct action. Without that, you fail by default. Another subtle behavior. She becomes guarded about her routines, not secretive, guarded. She avoids giving you predictable access. Predictability increases emotional exposure. Unpredictability keeps her feeling safe. She wants you present but not embedded. Yet, notice the internal contradiction. She pulls away from closeness but not from presence. She avoids emotional surrender, not interaction. That's the split. And that split only exists when attraction is active but unresolved. Here's the hidden truth most people never notice. Fear of falling is not fear of you. It's fear of what you unlock inside her. Loss of emotional leverage, loss of narrative control, loss of self-image. Falling means admitting need. And need is the one thing female psychology resists until safety is proven. You are not dealing with logic. You are dealing with preservation instinct. If she were avoiding you, her body language would flatten. No tension, no nervous energy, no micro adjustments. A woman who's scared of falling shows signs of internal compression. She becomes more controlled, not more distant. Less expressive, not less interested. That distinction is invisible to men who only measure attention. In this phase, her subconscious is asking one question. If I let this happen, will I lose myself? Until that question is answered, her behavior will oscillate. And this is only the surface layer. What happens next goes deeper. Biological, evolutionary, uncomfortable. What you're seeing now isn't confusion. It's selection pressure playing out inside her nervous system. And it's older than language. Attraction activates ancient circuitry, not romance, not fantasy. Survival algorithms refined over thousands of years. When a woman feels herself falling, her brain doesn't ask, "Do I like him?" It asks, "What does this cost me if I lose control?" Female desire evolved under risk, pregnancy, social consequence, emotional dependence. The female nervous system is designed to slow things down precisely when desire spikes. That's why her fear rises in direct proportion to how strongly she feels. Here's the biological truth most people never hear. When emotional attraction intensifies, cortisol rises alongside dopamine. Pleasure and threat activate simultaneously. This dual activation creates hesitation, not because she doubts you, but because her body is trying to prevent irreversible commitment before safety is verified. That's why she goes quiet after moments of closeness. Her system is recalibrating. Dopamine surges during connection, cortisol spikes afterward. Silence isn't rejection, it's recovery. Men misread this because male attraction is linear. Interest leads to pursuit. Female attraction is evaluative. Interest leads to testing, not of you, of herself around you. She starts watching how she feels after interactions, not during, after. Does she feel grounded or exposed, calm or destabilized? If she feels too affected, too open, too changed, fear sets in. And fear creates distance. This is why she might suddenly become busy without cutting you off. Why she delays replies but still replies. Why she avoids deep conversations but keeps light contact alive. She's regulating emotional dosage. Too much too fast triggers self-protection. Another layer, evolutionary mate filtering. When attraction is weak, women filter externally. Status, looks, social proof. When attraction is strong, filtering becomes internal. Can I trust myself with this man? That question is dangerous because it shifts power from rational choice to emotional gravity. She doesn't want to fall, she wants to choose. Falling implies loss of agency, and female psychology is wired to avoid surrender unless the environment feels stable enough to survive it. Watch what happens next. She may test boundaries subtly, pulling back to see if you panic, holding silence to see if you chase. These are not games, they're nervous system assessments. Your reaction tells her whether emotional surrender would cost her stability. If you pressure her, you confirm threat. If you disappear dramatically, you trigger abandonment fear. If you stay grounded, unaffected, present but not invasive, her system relaxes. Because safety is not created by reassurance. It's created by emotional containment. Another biological marker. She becomes more aware of consequences. She mentions timing, circumstances, right now, at this stage. These phrases are shields. They give her logical cover for emotional hesitation. She needs reasons to slow down that don't expose vulnerability. Notice she doesn't say, I don't feel it. She says, it's complicated. Complexity is the language of internal conflict, not disinterest. Her subconscious is balancing three forces: desire pulling her in, fear pushing her back, and identity trying to remain intact. That tension produces the hot-cold pattern that confuses most men into self-sabotage. Here's the deeper truth. When a woman is scared of falling, she is already partially attached. Attachment precedes admission. Distance becomes a tool to delay emotional acknowledgement, not eliminate attraction. She may even convince herself she's losing interest. The mind lies to protect the body, but the body doesn't lie. Her attention returns. Her curiosity resurfaces. Her emotional reactions remain sharp. Disinterest is dull. Fear is charged. This phase is where most connections either collapse or consolidate. Not because of what you say, but because of what you signal emotionally. Stability versus volatility, presence versus pressure. And this is still not the darkest layer, because the most dangerous signs don't look like fear at all. They look like control. Now we move into the layer almost no one recognizes. Because when fear deepens, it doesn't always look like withdrawal. It looks like restraint disguised as indifference. It looks like control. This is where attraction becomes dangerous to her identity. When a woman feels herself falling hard, her subconscious shifts strategy. Distance stops working. Suppression begins. She doesn't pull away physically. She pulls inward, psychologically. Her expressions flatten. Her tone neutralizes. She becomes composed, measured, almost cold. This is not loss of interest. This is emotional lockdown. Here's the primal mechanism behind it. Intense attraction threatens hierarchy. If she feels you affect her too deeply, she risks losing emotional leverage, and leverage equals safety. So her nervous system attempts to reassert dominance by minimizing visible reaction. She starts acting unbothered, not to manipulate you, to convince herself. Watch closely. She stops reacting strongly to compliments. She deflects intimacy with logic. She may even subtly challenge you. Not because she's testing your worth, but because she's testing her own power to resist. This is the phase where she becomes sharper, more critical, less warm. Men think they've done something wrong here. They haven't. What's happening is her biology is trying to neutralize emotional dependency before it locks in. Another dark sign. She creates artificial distance without severing access. She might say she needs space, but still watches you, engages indirectly, keeps tabs. This isn't detachment, it's surveillance. Her subconscious is tracking emotional threat while pretending neutrality. And here's the detail that separates fear from disinterest. Her attention doesn't drift, it concentrates. A woman who doesn't care disperses attention elsewhere. A woman who's scared of falling focuses intensely while pretending not to. You'll feel it. The tension in conversations, the pauses, the restraint. Like something is being held back deliberately. That's because it is. Another primal indicator: jealousy without ownership. She reacts emotionally to perceived competition, but won't admit why. This is raw biology surfacing through the cracks. Possessiveness appears before commitment, not after, and it terrifies her. Jealousy means attachment has already formed at a subconscious level, and attachment means vulnerability. So she suppresses it immediately, rationalizes it away, acts unaffected, but her body remembers. She may also start redefining the dynamic verbally. We're just talking. We're just friends. Labels are psychological barriers. They're not descriptions. They're defenses, words used to keep feelings contained. The darker truth: when attraction crosses a certain threshold, a woman's fear is no longer about you leaving. It's about her losing control if you stay. That's why she might push you away emotionally while staying connected structurally. Same environment, same proximity, reduced depth. She's lowering emotional bandwidth to avoid full activation. This is the peak danger zone. If you react emotionally here, you collapse the polarity. If you withdraw reactively, you confirm her internal alarm. If you stay centered, grounded, non-reactive, something shifts because her nervous system is watching one thing now. Can you hold power without needing control? That question determines whether fear converts into trust or shuts everything down permanently. And here's the most unsettling sign of all. She starts imagining outcomes, not talking about them, imagining them. Her behavior becomes future sensitive. She reacts not to what is happening, but to what could happen if she lets this continue. That means you're already inside her projection space. And once you're there, you're no longer casual. Fear at this level is not avoidance. It's containment of something already alive. What happens next decides everything, because fear either collapses attraction or transforms it into something irreversible. Now comes the final truth, the part no one explains, the part that determines whether fear becomes distance or devotion. When a woman is scared of falling, her behavior stops being about attraction and starts being about interpretation. She's no longer asking whether she wants you. She's asking what it would mean if she does. This is where most men misstep. They try to fix her fear, reassure, explain, push clarity. That never works. Fear isn't removed by logic. It dissolves through evidence, emotional evidence, consistency without pressure. Here's the psychological key. Female fear of falling is not fear of intimacy. It's fear of instability after intimacy. Her nervous system is scanning for one thing: containment. Can you remain grounded when she pulls back? Can you stay self-directed when she hesitates? Can you hold presence without pursuit? If the answer is yes, her fear loses function, because fear exists to prevent loss. When no loss appears likely, fear has nothing to protect. This is why chasing collapses attraction. It confirms volatility. This is why disappearing collapses attraction. It confirms unpredictability. Both validate her original concern: loss of emotional safety. The correct interpretation is silent, internal. You don't confront the behavior. You don't label it. You read it. And your emotional posture stays unchanged. Here's how fear converts into trust. She pulls back emotionally. You don't fill the space. You don't punish the distance. You remain consistent in tone, timing, and energy. Her system begins to relax because consistency is the antidote to internal chaos. At this stage, her subconscious recalculates you, not as a source of stimulation, but as a stable emotional environment. And that shift is everything. Desire doesn't deepen through excitement alone. It deepens through safety paired with strength. Another final sign you must recognize: when fear begins to dissolve, her behavior reverses quietly. No announcement, no confession. She becomes warmer without explanation. more open without asking, less guarded without acknowledging the shift. That's how you know you passed the test. A woman who was avoiding you would not return organically. She would drift, fade, close the loop. A woman who was scared of falling re-enters once safety is proven. And here's the ultimate hidden truth. Fear of falling only happens when the emotional impact is strong enough to change her internal equilibrium. You didn't imagine it. You didn't misread it. You encountered resistance because something real was forming. But real attraction doesn't grow through force. It grows through restraint. The men who lose here are the ones who try to win her. The men who succeed are the ones who let her nervous system settle around them. Because when a woman stops being afraid, she doesn't fall loudly. She falls silently. And she stays. This is Female Code Unlocked. If this changed how you see her behavior, you already know why most people never notice it.